ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ Ravi Suman. I'm Ravi Suman and welcome to the Seek channel. To our special interview segment, we are honored to bring you a very special guest, Sanjeev Singh Sahota. Sanjeev, thank you for taking time out and welcome to the Seek channel.
Thank you for having me. Waਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ.
Okay, so in our special segment, we'll be taking some time now with Sanjeev and discussing his life story, his journey as a boxer. And it's great to have you here, Sanjeev.
Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. And so your journey has been a very interesting one.
It has.
You were born here, and then when you were 13, you moved to Spain. So
That's right.
if you could just share with us, please, your beginnings.
Yeah, 100%. I was born obviously in the UK, grew up in Emerson Park, Hornchurch area, and at the age of 13, my parents moved to Spain, my family, so I moved to Spain at the age of 13, and my boxing career began in Spain, believe it or not.
Boxing career began in Spain.
Yep.
Wow. And what inspired you though to become a boxer?
So when I moved to Spain, I didn't have all the friends in the world at the time because I was very new in the country. And one of the first things I did was I started watching a series called The Contender. And from there, I was interested how to see how the boxers live their life in the series. I wasn't the slimmest kid in the classroom, if you want to call it. I was interested to lose weight. I tried sports before I moved to Spain. I tried football. I also played rugby at school. I always used to think I was supposed to be involved in football because my brother and my father were always involved in football. I always used to think I've got to make the football team for school. I had 2 left feet. I was never no good at football. So obviously from watching the Contender series, I decided to go to the gym one day, the boxing gym.
And how was that first gym session?
So one of my neighbours was actually a boxer in Spain. And because I was watching the series Contender at the time, and I also knew in the back of my head he was a boxer as well. So I asked him one day, can I come to the gym with you one day? He was like, sure. I went down to the gym. I was seeing all these fighters training, boxers, and it really interested me. And obviously I was watching on the series, The Contender, and how all the fighters were getting mentally prepared, fitness prepared, and ready to get into the fights, into the bouts. So when I went to the gym, first day, I was terrible. But it's not about the first day, it's how you overcome it.
So that first day, what did a typical first day training session involve?
Because it was a long time ago, I really couldn't remember the whole session. It was just really getting a taste of boxing training. That was the honest truth. I've got highlights remembered till this day when I went there. One of the trainers there said, you sure you want to do boxing? And I said, I'll be back. And that was from there really. I just continued training and watching videos on YouTube, and at the time on internet, and watching The Contender, trying to copy what the athletes were doing at that time, and really tried to get involved in the whole boxing world of things. Because obviously when I moved to Spain, it was a new country for me, a new beginning. I remember when I went into school, I didn't speak a word of Spanish. That was more nerve-wracking than walking into a boxing ring. I can assure that was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things, going into the school, not speaking a word of Spanish, and having to learn Spanish from there. And watching The Contender at the same time was something for me to fall on, and it intrigued me.
And The Contender, which was the show presented by Sylvester Stallone.
That's right.
And Sugar Ray Leonard.
That's right, and it still goes on to this day. I think there's, believe it or not, the other night I was watching I don't know what number series it is now, but yeah, it's still going to this day.
Okay. So you must have come across some stereotypes in wanting to become a boxer, because ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਕਦੀ ਕਦੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਦਫ਼ਤਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਵਕੀਲ ਬਣਾਂਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਬਣਾਂਗੇ ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨੇ ਬਾਕਸਿੰਗ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
और जो अपनी ख्वाहिश है मनपसंद दिल की चीज़ तुसी ने ਵਿੱਚ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਤੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਬਾਕਸਿੰਗ ਤੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦਾ ਰਿਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਕੀ ਸੀ ਖਿਆਲ ਕੀ ਸੀ
My family have supported me regardless whatever choice I've made. My father always said, do what your diddle says. And don't get me wrong, my mother wasn't too happy. मेरा partner क्यों चपेड़ा खाना So they've been very supportive. My dad has also been involved in many sports. He was also involved in, and as you know, in our Indian community, kabaddi. Since I was a child, I grew up watching it, being at tournaments. My dad had been to, he's either took teams to New York and all over the world through kabaddi. So he's always been a chunk of sports, my dad. And even like the football, which I thought I always had to be a footballer, like I said earlier. And my brother as well was always into football and he for athlete running. So they were very, very supportive. My whole family overall are very supportive till this day, what I do. And as like you said, we get involved in business, which my family have businesses in Spain, in the wholesale business in Spain, and many of my sisters and my brother is a lawyer, and my brother was a Canadian runs the Special Olympics, which is held in UAE. So it was a very odd choice for me.
Okay, and so with boxing and any profession, you have your ups, you have your downs.
100%.
So what's your journey been like as a boxer? Not just in terms of physically the training, but we often hear in sports how important it is to psychologically be ready, mentally be ready for sports and for challenges in life. So if you could just share with us, please, your views on the importance of being in the right frame of mind and the right psychological state of mind to pursue your goals.
For sure, I think in every sport and anything in life, what you want to achieve, you have to mentally believe that you want to do it, because it's such an important factor. Even in the boxing game we're in, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will do. And 90% of the battle is being mentally strong, and the 10% is a fight and being physically strong. If you're mentally strong, I believe everyone needs to set themselves a goal. If it's in boxing, if it's in business, if they want either a painter, if they want a singer. I want to set yourself a small goal, achieve that small goal, then set yourself a bigger goal. When you achieve that small goal, you're going to say, wow, I've achieved that goal in such a short period of time because I was determined to achieve it. One of my first goals was simply just to lose weight, because I wasn't the slimmest boy in the classroom, if you want to call it. I wanted to get fit. I wanted to find my sport, my passion, which, like I said before, I thought was in other sports, but my passion, I think everything happens for a reason. My mum always says that. I moved to Spain. I started watching The Contender. I fell in love with the sport of boxing. I've also watched other sports as well, and I thought I'm going to give it a go. I was watching The Contender, how the fighters were obviously making weight, losing weight, training hard, being mentally strong, and believing in themselves. I thought I could do with that. So that was the start of a journey to still going, really, if you want to call it.
And as part of that journey, mind, body, soul, if you want to refer to it in that way, did you include in your training regime any meditation or yoga?
I did. I'll be honest, till this day, when I wake up, I listen to the Barda every morning. It helps me relax, helps me feel good, it helps me believe in it, helps me have faith. Faith is stronger than fear, regardless. You believe in something, you have faith, and I always feel God is watching me. And even when I go into my boxing ring and moments before my fight, I'll make sure I go in my corner, I'll have faith and I'll make a prayer. It's having that belief, whatever you want to do in life. I'm not just even saying it's just for boxing. One of my messages I want to get across to the youth and everyone out there, whatever goals you want to achieve, just believe you can do it, because others will support you. People who love you will support you. It's very important to believe in yourself, because you can do it.
Thank you for that very wonderful message. And with training and diet as well.
Yeah.
So what's a typical diet plan for you, like before leading up to a fight?
I'll be honest with you, my food is very... I've lived to learn like a professional boxer. I've lived to eat like a professional boxer. I live to sleep like a professional boxer. There's no samosa. There's no aloo paratha. There's no chai cup with milk, desi chai, which I love anyway. I've learned to eat. I've had a mentor, my nutritionist, she's pro nutritionist, and he taught me so much. And throughout the boxing, till this day, I learned so much. Something that's really intrigued me is the nutrition of food values, learning about foods and concepts of foods, what people might not even know. They might think, I'll give you an example, a can of Coke, there's no harm in it. There's lots of sugars and there's caffeine, there's things that you need to learn about food. I learned to read labels. People don't know how to read labels behind nutrition labels, nutrition facts. The sodium, what contained in certain foods, and extra sodium. I think, especially in our Indian community as well, I think it's very important, because a lot of our elders do suffer obesity and heart problems. So I think it's very important to try and learn and have knowledge over what you eat, what you drink. Maybe do a regular exercise on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. It's important for your health, for your mental health, for your body. If you physically feel good and feel healthy in yourself, you'll be able to provide others with information and be healthy for them.
So, as an example of studying and applying principles in nutrition,
yep,
you mentioned food labels.
Yep.
So, I take it you also consider the glycemic index of a carbohydrate.
100%.
How that impacts insulin and...
Yep,
and
your insulin levels go up and down
levels.
so much. Some carbs will make your insulin levels, like, for example, quinoa couscous is probably the lowest glycemic carbs out there. You also get fructose for your fruits. I think it's very important, is maybe not going too much into it. Maybe for one of the key factors, I would recommend out there to people maybe just watching us interview and would like to know about some key facts of nutrition. Just try and drink to 3 to 4 litres of water in a day. That's step one. Try and avoid the pop and the fizzy drinks and the sugary drinks. If it's juice, you might think when it says a carton of orange juice, you say natural orange juice. You have to look on the back, it contains so much sugar, and what times of days you want to be having that, and when you want to be having it. There's so many factors in so many elements, which I learned till this day, and I'm learning till this day. I'm learning so much for me to learn. You never stop learning in life. So no matter how old you get or how young you are, or you always will learn every day.
फिर ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਰਬੋਹਾਈਡਰੇਟ के बारे समझाते ਸੀ ਕਈ ਕਾਰਬੋਹਾਈਡਰੇਟਸ ਤੇ ਗਲਾਈਸੈਮਿਕ ਇੰਡੈਕਸ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਫॉर एग्जांपल ਚਨਾ ਦਾਲ low glycemic index ਸਾਗ low glycemic index ਗੋਭੀ low glycemic index ਫਿਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੋਟੀ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉਸ low glycemics वाले चीज़ खांदे आ गोभी या साग ਜਾਂ ਪਿੰਡੀ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਬਜ਼ੀ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਰੋਟੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ?
That's right. I'll be honest with you, I really stay away from roti. Atta is not the best, like you said, the best carb. I stick to the vegetables. So the best way to look at the things, I think like this. I think I've said this quite many times. Think like a caveman. Could a caveman get atta and make a roti in years ago? No. Could he maybe have got some vegetables and maybe picked a carrot from the ground or from a tree, or get some, like you said, some green beans? It's possible. Try to stick to more natural foods with the correct oils, because I believe especially our Indian cooking, our Punjabi cooking, is the oils we use far too much oil. Sunflower is not the best. Maybe use coconut oil, which I've been recommending, either olive oil. Best for cooking, and maybe mix the actual oil with a bit of water, and it just takes the oil, not so much oil to that extent, and that's simple nutrition facts which will make us start on changing.
Okay. And ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਕਸਿੰਗ ਦੀ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ,
ਹਾਂਜੀ,
ਤੋ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੈਬ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਹੁੱਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਸਮਝਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿ ਬਾਕਸਿੰਗ ਦੀ ਟ੍ਰੇਨਿੰਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਨੱਠਦੇ ਆ, ਇੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬੈਗ ਜੈਬ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਇੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਭਾਰ ਚੱਕਦੇ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਸਮਝਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਪਲੀਜ਼?
So my daily routine will probably, let me say like it's my weekly routine. So normally I will do the boxing in the early AM, and that boxing training can consist on pads, body bag, punch bag, circuit, skipping, more of a cardio side of things. Then there's on the second training, because I normally train twice or 3 times a day. The second training will either be a strength and conditioning session, which will work on power, impact, explosive work, and endurance. So between strength and conditioning, I might have that 3 or 4 times a week, which we do heavy lifting for explosive and power, and then we do endurance training for your stamina. Then also between when the days I'm not doing strength and conditioning, also be running, doing road work. So maybe it depends how far you are from a boxing bout. If it is a month away or 2 months away, you want to be doing long runs. When you come towards the fighting bout, you maybe want to do shorter sprints, bring your heart rate level high intensity work. So, and obviously, of course, sparring. So days when we're sparring, we won't be doing the strength and conditioning, because you want to be fast, you want to be good on your movements, you want to have the speed, you don't want to feel tight and feel stiff, you want to be nice and relaxed and loose. And rest is just as much as important as training. So basically, my life I live as a professional boxer is eat, sleep, train. Eat, sleep, training. It's pretty much that. There's no fun and games in it, I'm afraid. But when you're going as a professional, whatever you do in life is hard work and dedication will make you succeed.
ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ 14 ਸਾਲ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬਾਕਸਿੰਗ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ?
Yep.
ਔਰ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਕਦੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ?
ਮੈਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ professional boxing at the age of 24. 3 years ago. Just about 3 years ago. Before that, I was boxing amateur in Spain. I started off with kickboxing fights, believe it or not, just because at the time when I started training, I started boxing at the age of 14. It was so I moved to Spain at 13. Between that 13 and 14, I started boxing, went to the boxing gym. At the time, you couldn't have, when I was in Spain, you couldn't have a boxing bout till you were 16. Then it's changed over a period. I got into kickboxing. I could have had a few kickboxing fights. I had roughly about 10 kickboxing fights. My first ever boxing match was actually, I got chucked into a regional tournament which was in Madrid, and I won the gold medal out of it, so I come first. So it was great. It was a great experience and great thing to start with. I never ever thought of winning any fights, or even my thought was just to train, and then I got involved and I thought, okay, I'll try, and I have one amateur boxing match, and I won, and just from there I started as an amateur. I had the opportunity sign as a professional with Frank Warren, who's a Hall of Fame of boxing and then one of the biggest promoters in the world, and till this day he's had Prince Nassim, Amir Khan, and he's got Tyson Fury now, he's had Nigel Benn, he's had Chris Eubanks, you name it. He's promoted all the big Hall of Fame fighters, especially out of Britain. Ricky Hatton, I'm a true fan of his as well, the way he works the body. But 3 years I had my pro debut on 30th of April. It was at the Copper Box Arena, which is a great stadium to box at. And it was under all the lights and cameras, and it was nerve-wracking. And from there to now, really.
That's an outstanding achievement to be part of the stable where you've had boxing greats.
Yeah, 100%.
Such as Nigel Benn, Tyson Fury, Frank Bruno, Prince Nassim Hamid, Amir Khan, and yourself, of course, deserving that opportunity to be part of that establishment. And so काफ़ी लोग हैगे आ जो अपने जीवन विच सपने देखते हैं, और सपने देखना एक चीज़ है, दूसरी चीज़ हैगी सपने को सच करना. जे किसी ने सपने सच करने या दिल के सपने, what advice किया?
My advice would be, whatever you want to choose, a path you would like to choose in life, try and choose the correct path. Get guidance of your loved ones, of your parents, of your guidance, maybe your brothers or sisters. Ask their advice. Say, I like to try this. I'm sure they will support you on it. And firstly, believe in yourself, and then give it a try. What's the worst can happen? You can only try in life. The worst can happen, it can only go wrong. And failure is great. Failure makes success. People who succeed, you need to fail. You never lose in life, you learn. You learn to achieve bigger and better things and goals in life. I'm a true believer in that.
जब किसी ने कोई सफ़र शुरू करना, फिर कोई गोल लिख सकता है, अपने आप को कह सकता कि जाके सकती कि ये मेरा लक्ष्य है, मेरा गोल है, उनमें कामयाब होना. पर कदी कदी डर भी आ सकता, apprehension, worry. फिर ये जो failure हैगा, and the fear of failure, how did you deal with that?
I'm going to tell you now, I'll be honest with you, in the boxing ring, there's no sunshine every day. It's hard days. There's days when you think, what am I doing? There's been days when I walked in the changing room scared and thinking, why am I here? But you've got to keep believing in yourself. You've got to keep telling yourself, bad days make good days. And if you didn't have bad days, good days wouldn't be. That's why you appreciate the good days a lot more, because when you've had bad days, you learn of them. Everyone in life, I believe, needs to have bad days, make a better person of themselves, be strong of themselves. That's what makes you as a person. Failure makes you as a person in life. And I believe that it's very important. Whatever you choose, no path. If it's business, if it's boxing, if it's running, if it's football, no path is ever going to be easy. The truth of the matter is, you have to keep going. You have to keep pushing towards your goal. It's not going to be easy, but keep pushing and keep doing what you're doing. You will achieve it. You will reach it. I never thought in a million years that I would ever have a boxing match. I went to the gym. I wanted to lose weight. And I started as an amateur boxer, and then I've been on great stages. I boxed in New Delhi in front of 14,000 people. That was an amazing experience overall. So, and my dreams are still, and so much more to do in life. I still want so much things, so many goals I want to achieve. I could just go on and on and on.
Well, we will love to hear more, and I'm sure we'll have you back in the studios to know and learn more about your next plans, your next journey. And Sanjeev, it's been wonderful having you with the studios. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy training schedule.
Thank you.
And spending time with us. And thank you everyone for joining us on our special interviews segment on the Seek channel. We'll be back with more to come. And until then, sanu ijazat dijiye. तब तक सत श्री अकाल वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा एंड वाहिगुरु जी के फतेह